Hi guys, welcome to Babe Talks, a podcast about life and all its experiences. Hi guys. It's been a while. I feel like I've even forgotten how to speak. Anyway, how was your week? Actually, it's been 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks? Fortnight. What have I said? Fortnight. How was your fortnight? Mine was okay. I think it's been quiet. I don't even remember what happened in the last 2 weeks. I feel like I've just found myself here. Anyway, I just want to get straight into the topic for today. Today's topic is inspired by a conversation that I had with two people in the last fortnight. Hey. So, you guys know I love a story time. I am definitely going to give you a story again if you are new here. Here I just tell stories about like my experiences and life and what I think, and yeah, basically that. So anyway, growing up, I've always been a planner. Do you know, like, these guys who love to be control over everything? That is me. I always like to be in charge, or I've always thought that I'm actually in charge of my life. And nothing happens to me without me seeing it coming. You know those people who put those memes of me, I see everything coming, I'm an overthinker. So I was actually an overthinker. I think I've even reduced. So I like to see the future. I like to plan. I like to have everything calculated. I like to see the repercussions in such a situation that I don't even do things until I've already seen a repercussion. If I don't know what the repercussion is, trust me, I am not going to do it. Just know, like, nothing catches me off guard. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. So back in the day, it was actually extreme that I used to plan like to fail. For example, like, I would go to an exam knowing I'm not going to read a lot so that I don't actually excel, but I don't fail. So I'm like, okay, let me be comfortable getting around 60 or 70. And most times I would get it. I would just leave the rest to the teacher knowingly, because I'm like, I'm too lazy to read, or I'm too tired, or I don't see myself passing this exam. So even in selection of friends, like, I've not even been in this friendship drama and what, because like I calculate when I see you being troublesome and everything, we are not going to like be close. Like, I just stay away from you and make sure our paths never cross. Obviously, here and there I made some mistakes and I didn't see what was coming. Actually, for me, I feel like my mistake is not seeing something coming. Like, I should have known, I should have seen it. And yeah, those things happened once in a while, but on a larger scale, everything was always predictable. When I was young, actually, I used to play games, and if it was a competition, like, like cards, you people may call it matatu, but I'm meaning like those cards there, or like racing, all these games that involved winning and losing. I would read the situation. If I thought I was better than my competitor, I would play because I was guaranteed of a sure win. But if I thought that the person was better than me, I would just say, the CBD, me, I'm not playing, because I feared to lose. Actually, I fear failure, or back then it was even worse. I had a great phobia for failure, and I'm also very risk averse. I don't like putting my effort and my money and my investments, my resources into something when I know that I am going to actually fail. Like, if there is a possibility of me not excelling in it, I rather not do it. Fast forward to my final year at campus, there was this course unit, highway engineering, too. It's an elective, and I opted for it instead of the other elective, which is design of structures. And this design of structures is known to be quite hard. Okay, both course units were hard, but design of structures was worse. So it only made sense for me to do highway, because I had no choice either way. Like, I had to choose the easiest of the hardest. So the semester progresses, and now it's coming to one end. And when the semester is coming to an end, it's time for exams. I go for the highway exam. It was actually the first exam, and I finished it well. And now I'm heading to read for other exams. Actually, the paper went fairly well. I knew that I was going to pass it. Tell me why I'm sleeping at night. And then, do you know that realization that hits you? Do you know that realization that hits you in your sleep? I suddenly realized that I had blundered in the exam. Do you know, I remembered the things. Oh God, I don't even know how to explain it. I remember that I didn't answer some question. Choka, I knew the question, but I forgot to answer it. Like that exam panic. I must have forgotten to answer it in some way. And then I had just left them. I started calculating how many marks I had left. In the examination, I don't know if most of you did it. Like, you go to an exam and sit, and then you calculate the marks that you're going to get. Like, I know this, I don't know this. I think out of what I've calculated, I'm going to get like 50% or 60% or whatever percentage. So before I left that paper, I had calculated, and my calculation was like, okay, I'm going to pass. But when I remember that I hadn't answered these questions, it means it's reducing my percentage of passing. And when I calculated minus these ones, I realized that there is no way I can survive a retake. Guys, I have never been so right now I'm laughing about it, but I have never been so frustrated in my life. I cried, I wailed, I was like, Mom, you think I slept again at night? I was I was just in tears. I was like, oh my God, how come I didn't see it coming? How could I forget to do the questions? Choka. The thing that even hurt me is that I knew the questions, not that I just left them because I didn't know them. I actually knew them. So I'm like, I'm going to fail because of something stupid like this. I was so devastated. I cried. Remember, it was exam week. I still had other exams to do, by the way. So I would cry while reading for these other exams. I would cry after doing the exams. Like, I would go for an exam, come back and cry. I cried in the morning, I cried in the afternoon, I cried in the evening, I cried at night. I think I have not cried that much in my life. You could not convince me otherwise that I was going to pass that exam. I mean, I had calculated, like, I know what I did. Like, like, my plan had not come to pass. Like, it caught me abrupt. And remember, this is my final year. And it meant that if I fail that exam, I am not going to graduate in record time. And guys, one of my plans when I was joining campus was to graduate in record time. So this was just deviating from my plan. And I had never got a retake. So I was like, now I'm going to get a retake. Moreover, getting a retake in your final year. God, I don't even know how to explain that feeling. But if you have been through school, yeah, you know what I mean. From desperation, I had to look for something to console me. And hey, I had to go to the Bible. The back of the Bible. The back of the Bible has those Bible verses, like the ones you go to over, I'm feeling like envy, I'm feeling jealous, I'm feeling over thankful, I'm feeling what. So for me, I went feeling desperate. I was so desperate. I read the Bible verse, I got some Bible verses, I read, and it actually helped to console me. During that time, I prayed to God. I was like, God, please, please, please. I pleaded. I even dreamt about the exams. I was so traumatized. Like, it was a situation that I didn't see coming. So after some days, and yeah, I'm still back in my sorrow and everything, something came into my mind, and I believe it was the Holy Spirit. And he said, now, I'm like, quote unquote, what he's saying. Now, what can you do about this situation? I kept quiet and I'm like, nothing. Then, again, the voice says, like in my head, what if you fail and not graduate? What happens? I started quaking in my head. I'm like, But then I realized that there is nothing I could actually do. Like it was out of my control. Now the only thing I had to do was to pray that I actually do not get the retake. Then again, I hear like the voice, can you change anything now? And definitely the answer was no. Then the voice is like, even if you fail, I still remain God. Like, will that change? Will it change the fact that I'm God? It won't change the fact. Or why I was silenced, and I'm like, eh. So from all these questions I had in my mind, I had to make peace with the fact that I could actually still fail. And then I realized it is not up to me right now. I can't, yes, I made my plans, but also God had his plans. And even if I failed and I didn't graduate in record time as I had planned, will it change the fact that he is God? God is going to remain God even in the tough situations. And I cannot have the burden of having to plan everything in my life, because sometimes things just don't go your way. And it's okay. So basically, it was a situation where I had no choice but to surrender that situation to God. I had to make peace with it. I had to get myself out of the helplessness, and I had to get myself off that point of not being sure of what is next. Because anyway, I had to wait for the results for about a month. That's when they were like going to come out. And for me to be in a position where I was unsure of the outcome, it was a new situation. Like for me, it was a new experience. I had to decide whether to be on bukenke. Now what is bukenke in English? Like okubeda kubunkenke. Anyway, being in a state of uncertainty, yeah. So that's when I decided munange to surrender everything to God and let him take over and let him take control. And oh my, it's been the most relieving situation. I do not have to worry about life anymore. I just have to let him take charge. And anyway, fast forward, I did not fail the course unit. And I later graduated, but it was a very big learning curve. And actually, it is I think it's the biggest lesson that I have learned this year. The biggest lesson is it's God who has control over my life. And even if I plan and calculate, it is him to decide. It is him to decide the direction my life takes. I've had people saying on TikTok, Omutozi Salao, and yeah, I actually agree because so there are actually very many verses in relation to this topic. I don't even know which one to share, but let me share these two. The first one is Proverbs chapter 3 from verse 5 to 6. It says, trust in the Lord with all your hearts and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. And the second one is Jeremiah 29:11. I think I've shared this scripture before on a previous episode. It says, for I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. So I know God's intentions for me are all for prosperity and success, and he is the one who has control over my life. So with that, munange, I hope you pick up something about, this story, and maybe you can reflect on your own experiences in relation to surrendering to God. And until then, see you on the next episode of Deep Talks. Mwah. Bye.